The Z Fold 5 has me conflicted in some ways, really love it in others. Let's talk about it. I'm going to show you some of the things that I really appreciate about the software, and then we're just going to talk about the device. So let's dive into it. So here we have the Z Fold 5. As you can see, I have it out of the case. I usually just have it in this kind of inexpensive Amazon case that I found. Protects it pretty well, has a glass kind of cover here to it, and protects it really well. That's one of the issues I've had, is finding a good case that does not cost an arm and a leg. It isn't super bulky, isn't going to kind of get in the way of some of the functionality. So I just use that case. Things I really am conflicted about. Well, the cover screen, people talk about comparing to other devices that it's narrow. Now, one of the things I appreciate is because it's narrow, when we get into the device and we open it up and we go to use it, being able to reach across with both thumbs and type. Really easy to be able to reach with my fingers there. Also, when you rotate the device to put it into more of a landscape for watching content, if I'm going to watch videos on YouTube or something, of course, I want it in that orientation. And we'll see here, show you the beautiful display. I'm watching this video, and in that orientation, you get more view than this, right? You get a better view. Now, then that means the speakers are also on the left and right here, oriented correctly. You can take it, rotate it around so in the palms of your hands, so you get the better sound with it. Now we have folds that are oriented the other direction, like the Pixel Fold, and that means you open it up and it's oriented like this automatically. It folds this way. The problem is then the speakers end up here and down here, and so the conflict to me is I feel like Samsung considered some of these things in the way that you use it in this orientation when you need the tall view and you are viewing apps that are designed for the phone mode, the phone orientation. You're going into Twitter, you're loading up Twitter here and you're scrolling through and you get that view. But when you're watching video, you rotate it. With other foldables, it's kind of the opposite. It opens up in this orientation, which is better for viewing video, and then you rotate it the other way when you're viewing non-video content. But then the problem is when you do that, the speakers change orientation, and the speakers are really correctly oriented when you're in more of a landscape view with this device, where a device that is already oriented this way, the speakers then are like up here and down here, aren't really stereo. And I'll get into that when I talk about the Pixel Fold more in another video. But this is about the Z Fold 5. So the other things I really appreciate is the Edge panel. So software stuff. They have the Edge panel here, really nice. You have the ability, if you go in here, and I'll type in task. So I'm going to go into the taskbar, right? And I'll toggle that off, toggle that back on. So you get the taskbar down here for easily switching between applications that are open. Or, your favorite apps there. I want to go into another application without going all the way out. And I go into my entertainment, and now I go into YouTube. I'm in YouTube already. I want to go to Twitter, so I go into social media, and I hit X if it's not already open. Also on the Edge panel for easily switching, again, between applications, photos, things of that nature. Split screen, if I want to split screen. The fact that most applications work side by side, but also I can change them to this orientation and they'll work just fine. And I don't have any issues where I think it's because Samsung kind of forces that to work. On some of my other foldables, not all the applications work in either orientation. Some of them will just take over the whole screen. And even if you go into developer settings and kind of force them to go into windowed mode, it doesn't work that well. I think Samsung wins strictly for the software aspect for me. And that is really significant. They don't have the best cameras on a foldable, but they're not the worst either. They're manageable for most things that I use it for. I've taken some great photos. I'm not going to get into that. This is kind of a summary. If you want an in-depth camera video, check out, stay tuned to the channel for that. I will be working on in-depth camera content on this particular device as well. So software is really where I say Samsung wins the game. And again, I have this on the outer display, and when I open it up, I do have the same layout on the inside. I have a similar layout on the inside, but I can have a separate layout on the cover and inside screen, where on some other devices, this one half will be like your cover display. So when you go from here and you open it up, it would just be on the one side, and then you have to swipe to go between. Basically, this acts as 2 pages versus 1 page on the cover, and then you have a different number down on the dock on the cover screen. I do not like devices that do that. Samsung gives you plenty of choice. You have good lock. You have plenty of customization. You have Samsung's whole ecosystem that you can take advantage of. You have the camera stuff, the camera assist. You have the ability to record 4K 60, move between cameras and do that, record 8K footage. You have all of the things that Samsung does really well, being able to take calls and texts on your tablet or your Galaxy Watch with it. You have the ability to do things like Samsung DeX. Some of these things that other devices just don't have is why I say that I would choose this device over any other foldable that I've used. And I have a Vivo X Fold. I have the Pixel Fold. I haven't messed with the OnePlus Open yet, but from what I understand and from what I've seen, it's just missing in my use with the OnePlus Pad, which I just got. Stay tuned for videos on that. The way that they treat software is just different. Samsung really focuses on the software treatment of things, and that's why, for me, this is the fold I would recommend. The button placement, I like that the fingerprint scanner is what unlocks it. I like that the side button. Now, some complaints, they have removed the ability to swipe down on the fingerprint scanner and have it go into notifications and then swipe up to make it go away. So you have to wake up the device. You have to use, your thumb or your other finger to do that. I don't like that they did that. Another software thing that was taken away, but that was like a One UI 6 thing that was taken away, is the ability to have multiple accounts on your device. So they've removed some features, but for multitasking, for the orientation, I like this. If you make it much wider on the outer side, then on the inside, it's going to be that much wider. And I have fairly long thumbs, but if you're trying to get other people to use it, if they have smaller hands, they might have a hard time two-handed typing if this device was much wider to reach the middle. And then you have to do one-handed, or you end up closing it, and then we end up using the cover display. Now, I understand some people really want a device where the cover screen is like a normal phone, and if they're going to type a lot, they'll use that, and then they open it up for maybe multitasking and media consumption. For me, this is a device that I carry if I want to be able to do some things on the cover screen, type up some texts, have some chats, scroll some social media. Having this longer display, scrolling some content, you get a lot in there. But then I open it up when I want to view media. And so it's a portable tablet that closes to then be a phone that I use some of the time, and that inner screen is really the focus. Other companies have done the opposite, and I can understand if that's your preference as well. I'm not saying that this device is for everybody, and I'm not saying that software saves them entirely. I'm glad that the OnePlus Open and the Pixel Fold and other devices are putting pressure on Samsung. I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that if you're new to the channel, you consider hitting the subscribe button. And of course, if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you have the Pixel Fold or the OnePlus Open or the Z Fold 5 or any other foldable, let me know why you chose that particular one in the comments down below. And of course, if you made it this far, put in hashtag tech discussion in the chat in part of your comments as well. And I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace and love.